Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. This is episode 129. You are talking to Mike Mylan, Cashflow Mike, and Blaine Birch, the CEO and founder of Dry Run, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. And what we talk about, if you've never heard us before, we talk about beer, we talk about business, we talk about BS, and you get a healthy dose of all three in every episode. Blaine Birch, what's up, my man?
Oh, not much, man. Ready to dive into this one. Good topic. You always come up with a great topic right before the show starts, and you got another good one today. Pull versus push. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, so there's two different strategies, right? Do I push my message out, or I pull my message, from something that's already there? So we had a big debate over at the university this week, and I'm like, oh man, this is a real good topic to kind of dig in with Blaine. So I wanted to kind of dive into that. So pull versus push. What's your strategy? And I think that there's a different viewpoint of this, right? It's a different viewpoint, and I want to expose that today as well on pull versus push. So this is kind of a good one. And I've got to take, all right, so have you heard the song Eminem, Guess Who's Back? Or I think that's what it is.
I'm sure I have. Yeah.
Guess Who's Back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So let me do this real quick. Guess who's back? Rachel's back. Meaning Rachel of Gentle Frog. She's back as a beer sponsor. Remember, hers ended. She goes, no, this thing is so good, I'm going with it. So Rachel of Gentle Frog came to us and she goes, you're not getting rid of me that fast. I am still sponsoring your beer. I'm buying your beer. And in return, here's what I say. If you need QuickBooks training, if you're looking for anybody that can help you understand what you don't understand about QuickBooks and take you from 0 to 60 in a matter of seconds or weeks or days or hours, she's fast. I don't know what it is. I don't know the timeline, but she's so fast. She can take anybody, even me, and help me understand how to use my QuickBooks better. So go to Gentle Frog, check out Rachel. She's going to hook you up.
Thanks, Rachel. That's super exciting. I was so excited when Mike told me about that. And we also want to thank Larry Weinstein, best CPA in Houston. If you need help with your books, with your whatever, accounting, your this, your that, your other, you know what you need Larry Weinstein. So thanks again, Larry. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. I got two more, right? I got two more beer sponsors. This thing just keeps going. So you got to think about it. Rachel's like 10 weeks out. Right? She bought 10 weeks. It's that powerful to her. She goes, no, I want 10 more weeks. Pat's like on an ongoing subscription or something like that. He just keeps coming back with the beer. And that's the one I'm drinking today. I'm drinking Pat's. The one I want to talk about, though, is I alluded to it. Remember, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Won the Super Bowl. But more importantly, I won the Mike Mylan Bowl. And if you see above my shoulder, right there is the trophy, the Mike Mylan Bowl trophy. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let him talk about it because he has sponsorship based on what he just did the rest of 2024. I have to talk about Mike Mylan because he didn't just send this. He sent a box of beers that I cannot get in Texas. You can only get, I'm not talking about a little box like this. I'm talking about, it said heavy, fragile, everything on the side of the box, this thing. I'm like going, do I need a dolly to get it into the house, right? This thing was so heavy. We did an unboxing video. I'm talking about, there are so many beers, so many different things. There's craziness inside this box. And I'm going to post some clips from that video. All right. So, and I'll be honest, two Mike Mylans trying to create a FaceTime video unboxing late at night. We got the video, not the audio. So I got to figure figure out how to make that work. But when you see what he sent me, you'll see why. So I have a fridge full of beer sponsorship just from him, and I'll be pulling them out. You'll be seeing it. But this guy went over and above. Not only did he pay his bet for the Chiefs beating the Ravens, but man, he says, I'm such a fan of the show. I love the Kansas City Chiefs so much that I want to make sure that you talk about the Chiefs as much as possible under my name. So, Mike Blaine, this is for you.
So hopefully only half of that was bullshit. Hopefully the Chiefs part. I know he wasn't big on that. So hopefully you like the show, other Mike Blaine. We do appreciate the beer sponsorship, though. Even though Mike will drink all of it, I still appreciate it.
I'd like to know if other people have friends that have the same name. That's gotta be. It feels like the weirdest thing in the world. That like, I've got a friend with the exact, not just the same name, because Milan, Milan, can be pronounced 10 different ways. Milan. Just you name it, you can just mispronounce that name. The very fact that we pronounce it the same way and we're not related is pretty cool to me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's that's awesome. We've got a real good kickoff to the year on beer sponsors. So this has been an exciting year, and we also have another sponsor to hear about later in the show. So we're really excited about that. So what did Neighbor Pat bring down for you this week?
All right, for Neighbor Pat, and he came in yesterday. He brought it down, walked it down from his house. And I was on a group coaching call, so I couldn't get up. So he actually talked to Courtney and dropped it off with her. I'd never seen this brewing company before. It's from Carrollton, Texas, right? It's really unique. First of all, it's a Mexican chocolate Imperial milk stout.
Oh, nice. That sounds great.
And check out this can, right? It's from
beauty.
Three Nations Brewing.
Nice.
Nations Brewing. But check that. It's called Devour, right? It's called Devour, but just the artwork on it is super cool. Three Nations Brewing. Where are we at on 8%, 8.3% APV? So you know what that means is it's probably going to hit me a little bit.
It'll be okay.
What a great Carrollton, Texas, Three Nations Brewing. And did you see Lakewood commented on our stuff? Lakewood Brewing.
No, I didn't. That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Thanks, Lakewood.
You posted last week's episode, and Lakewood Brewing said, "Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Love the support, and really, cheers to us," is what they said. So,
nice. Cool. That's we love supporting local breweries. That's why we do this, and we love the beer sponsors. But actually, the breweries themselves, we're always promoting local small breweries because we just love them. And this week I've got, I always try and get one that goes with the topic. This one was such a stretch. I couldn't find one that was a good push or pull, but what I did find was an unlikely scenario, India Pale Ale from Cerebral Brewing in Denver. And it kind of felt right. And actually Cerebral, I've had some of their stuff before. It is a really nice beer. So, excellent one. And I got to one other new thing for the show. So if you're watching the show, if you hear it, you're not going to see it, but watching the show, what I'm doing now is you can see in the background, I've decided to start putting up local indie artists' albums, their vinyl, because I like to support small business. And what I've realized are these bands, as we go and see them, is they're businesses. They're little small businesses that are generating revenue, and they're trying to make their way. And so this year, Banana Gun, Phoenix Band, they were terrific. Unfortunately, it's cut off a little bit, but as Wives, that was another terrific Phoenix band. I'll swap them out so you can see them next week. So I just want to mention that because I do want to support local there as well.
Yeah, super cool, right? Because I always like that. One of my favorite San Diego bands is this one called Safety Orange. And nice. They're kind of a beachy, kind of hip type of, what you think of California. That's the type of band they are. Yeah. And they do a mix between, I forget the R&B song, but Hotel California and this other one about, Sex on the Beach. I don't know what it is. If I heard it in my going, I could sing it, but I don't know the song. I mean, so apparently I'm not as versed in R&B. Oh, by the way, remember last week I said I was on my way to the rodeo to see Old Dominion.
Yes. How did it go?
If you've ever seen a old man cry at a concert, that was me. That was probably me.
And let me guess. You're crying in the front row with an Old Dominion hat, an Old Dominion shirt, an Old Dominion scarf, a couple of buttons. I bet you had the whole gear.
I at least bought the hat and I had a beer koozie. Right?
Nice. Okay.
I had 2 of the 10 that you just described.
Okay, that's good.
Dude, their first song, you can remember, one of my favorite artists ever before them was Toby Keith. And he passed away, right? Yes. And I wasn't really thinking about it. He had cancer, battled cancer and all that, and he passed away. Yeah. And I used to do, one of my favorite songs by Toby Keith was I Should Have Been a Cowboy, right? Is what it is. It's called I Should Have Been a Cowboy. I should have learned to rope and ride, just this type of stuff. Yeah. And I would sing at karaoke on occasion when the beer would tell me to. When the beer would say, hey, you know what you need to do? Is sing karaoke. So I would do that. So they started their concert with the big thing, tribute to Toby Keith. And the song they sang to start the concert was I Should Have Been a Cowboy, and I just bawled. I tried to sing. Courtney got a video of it. I tried to sing, but I couldn't because of the tears and the choking and all the things.
That's how you know you're a fan, man.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're a fan.
Yeah, so it was one of those things. But music, it hits me emotionally. I feel it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you obviously do too because we've got a whole room of it. So
I just love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me before we get into this, tell me about, because maybe we can tie this in. The local bands that you're going to right now in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. What is the scene, the vibe, the feeling that you're getting when you're doing that? And would you consider this to be a push strategy or a pull strategy from the band? You just called them small businesses a few minutes ago. Kind of wrapping in. Let's see if we can tie together our lives with the strategy.
Okay. Well, I might be a little bit of a stretch for me, but it is, if you're in the Phoenix area, like downtown Phoenix, there's this little place called the Crescent Ballroom. It's a great little bar and Mexican restaurant. And then the back, they got a little concert venue, holds maybe 500 people, a lot of local bands coming through, and also small, like we saw some Canadian bands there not too long ago that I knew so well from the 90s. And we had such a great time, but I know you're just like me. See, I go in and I see a band and I can't help it. I'm already like figuring out, well, what's the ticket price? Well, how many people are coming in here? Well, then they got their merch over here. I wonder if they get a cut of alcohol because the ticket price probably isn't that high to cover it. And I'm looking at that. And then I was talking with someone at the Roger Klein and the Peacemakers, I think that's what the band's called, concert. And they were talking about Roger has his own tour bus and they tour down in Mexico all the time, but he owns his own bus. And it's because they can monetize this. But what he's doing is he actually has his own tequila brand, and he's got a bunch of different things. So it's like, how do you take this brand and he's moving all of these other things out into the market to generate more revenue. And it's generating sort of this cult following. So people are following him all the time and they're keeping track of everything. And it's amazing to see how, like, sometimes it's a good band, I think, can earn a lot of money just because it got a bunch of hits that people recognize. But there's these other ones that I think punch way above their weight class by having the business sense and being able to work and making sure that they're, pushing their things out to the market. But Roger Klein, the Peacemaker, is a great example of that pull. Is they've got people that follow them everywhere that'll go to 50 of their concerts. It's amazing how they've generated this community that'll follow them everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. So let me explain a couple of different things about push-pull, and let's use what you just said and see what strategy they might be deploying, because there's two different ways I've always looked at the push-pull strategy. The first one is the technical one. If somebody goes, well, what the hell are Mike and Blaine talking about? And they go, what's a pull strategy? What's a push strategy? You know, a push strategy is more proactive. I am doing things to get my product into the market, right? Because I have to introduce it. So it's like, think about pushing it out there. The pull strategy is maybe there's something that already exists, a demand already exists, and you're more reactive. Instead of proactive, you're more reactive to the market, and you know you're reacting to things. So that's what you're trying to do. Now that's kind of technically the way I describe it to people is. Think about this. You're a startup, because normally I'm talking at the university, I'm talking to startups. It isn't big companies, because even big companies deploy either a push strategy or a pull strategy. And I'll tell you the difference between that. But with a startup, you're like going, here's push. Look at my stuff, buy my stuff, look at my ad, read my blog. It's all these things you're asking others to do because you're trying to introduce your idea or your product to the marketplace. The pull strategy would be all of a sudden something happens. And what they describe it as in finance is hockey stick growth. It just goes. And what you see is the pull of the market where somebody goes, yeah, I want your stuff. Give me your thing. I'll read your blog. I'll go to your social site. You feel the difference. You can feel the shift between me pushing my message in the market or the market pulling the message from me. This is what I want from you, right? So, and it's a feeling thing. You'll see it in the charts, but you also feel it because you're making less effort to go out and more effort, responding to what's coming in. So it's the proactive versus the reactive.
And like, I'll say, like when you were talking about strategy, and I was a little bit curious where you're going with that, because the way that I've always viewed sort of the push and pull is not as much of a strategy. It's like you're pushing out a necessity until you start to feel that market pull. And the thing to me is that it's almost like I can't really do that much about it but when you start feeling the pull, it's like I can't force the pull. That's pushing, right? But it's recognizing the pull. And so we felt that in Dry Run, and we've done a couple of moves and pivots along the way. And it's because you're like pushing, and it's like you're pushing a boulder uphill. And then you start to feel the pull where it's like, oh, that's who needs us. They're like, because there's sometimes they almost come in and kick the door down. And you're like, oh, geez, that is where this problem is that we solve that. So I guess our strategy is more like, how do we adjust? How do we take advantage of this? How do we make sure that we're building, nurturing, and even our content and everything has to keep adjusting to build on that pull, to build on that group that's really pulling, right?
Yeah, but I think ultimately, if you're just starting out, everything is a push.
All of it. It's all a push.
Yeah, everything's a push, right? It's like it's a slug. And some businesses never get out of push mode. For example, Apple, Tesla, I still think they're in push mode. Here's why I say that. Even though people line up to get their stuff or be on a waiting list, they're such innovators that they have to educate us all up front. No, you want this. You want this, right? You need this. I mean, you need ludicrous mode. You need self-driving automated cars. We don't need it, but they keep telling us we do. We don't need triple action cameras that can do all this crazy stuff, but they keep telling us we need it.
But I think product by product, it starts to flip, and it flips with Apple. It tends to flip really quick, right? So they have to push it out there because it's like, we know you're not really buying and doing much with an MP3 player, but we've redone that. Here's a phone. This is totally different. You guys, here's a tablet. You guys haven't even heard of a tablet? Well, it's really cool. But boy, it doesn't seem to take long to pull, and that market pull, and then it runs that. It's like that one channel, that one product line is now on pull, and they're like, okay, just let it run, and we'll like update every 6 months because over here we're building the next big thing we're going to push, right? And so I think like the legacy stuff pulls all the time.
All right, but prior to iPhone, nobody was the clear market leader. We had Nokias and Motorola's and all that. I mean, prior to iPhone, there was no big cell phone market leader, I think.
That was BlackBerry.
Well,
I would say it was the leader. Trio was a little bit behind Black, and they were never like Apple, never like the iPhone.
Never. For what we know it is today.
Yeah.
Tesla. Let's look at Tesla, and that's the reason why I brought these two up. Tesla, you got to remember, prior to us knowing Tesla, my idea of an electric car was some little ass Matchbox type looking smart car thing, that the batteries could only push a little car. Well, guys that are my size don't want to ride in that little car, right? For a variety of reasons. It's uncomfortable. I feel funny. I look funny. People make fun of me.
Well, and you can only go 4 miles before it runs out of juice.
Yeah, right. So that's why they were so small and light, those that the batteries could propel you a little farther. But the electric car was not a cool thing prior to one introduction, and that was a push into the market. And Tesla introduced the Roadster in like 2008-ish, I think. I don't know. I'm sure I'm wrong. Kill me on the internet. But I think it's around 2008. And instead of a sedan, instead of an SUV, they came out with the Roadster, which was a cool-looking sports car.
Yeah.
Right.
And it barely, honestly, it was a big splash very briefly. It didn't really sell a whole lot. But what it did is I think it changed perception.
Yeah. It's like going, electric cars can be cool.
Yeah.
But then what they did was they took some of the technology that was in the Roadster and put it in the S.
Yep.
Which was the sedan.
The 4-door.
How do I make Family Guy with 2 kids and a wife? How do I make him want an electric car when he thinks of it as the smart car, but he can't afford the Roadster?
Yeah.
Well, I push out an electric car that's a sedan that still has the digital dashboard. It still has ludicrous mode that makes him feel like he's driving the most coolest, fastest car on in the planet. Yeah. Why do you think he measures it against Porsche? Right? Like going Tesla versus Porsche. Well, because the Family Guy can still have a fast ass car and feel cool about it and tell his friends, well, this can be the Porsche.
Yeah. I'm going to pull a little bit of BS here because I don't know if I've told this story on the show before, but did I tell you about the time I found the ludicrous mode button on my electric skateboard accidentally?
You have, but it's fun. Tell that story again.
Okay, well, it's been probably quite a few episodes, and it's topical here. So I've got the skateboard, and it was also very bad user experience and user interface design because a little, the control, the ludicrous mode button is right under one of the fingers, right under the fingertips. You're always trying not to bump it. And so I'm in the mid mode. So I'm going 30 some kilometers an hour, which is, 18 miles an hour or something like that. And I went over a bump and I think I squeezed the handle and it turned on the ludicrous mode, which is 50 kilometers an hour, which is like 30 miles an hour or whatever. And then I pushed the accelerator. And when I pushed the accelerator, it had so much torque. Remember, I'm going 30 kilometers an hour at the time. And then my skateboard shot out from under my feet like a bullet, and I watched it, and I'm flying at 30 kilometers an hour, 3 feet up with my feet up, down the concrete, down the pavement, watching my skateboard like a missile fly out from under me, knowing, oh boy, I'm gonna hit hard. And yes, I did hit hard. Fortunately, I had pads on under my clothes and stuff, and of course I had a helmet. I won't go without a helmet, but it was. That was what we were talking about. Accidental genius. This was accident right there. Like
what I would give for that video. I would just watch it every other day just to keep me happy. Your ass fall off like a skateboard like that.
If I had a video, it would be on our Facebook page. But the only other person with me was my wife, and she wasn't videotaping. And not only that, I've been iced off my skateboard for quite a while now. I have to negotiate to be able to go back on my skateboard. It's been quite a long time. So
that's funny.
She wasn't happy.
All right, so pushing it out. All right, so I liken to this. I liken it to when you start out, there's so many things you got to do to get your message out there. Like I remember at Finnegraph, I'm cold calling everybody. It seemed like PayPal and Equifax and Jack Henry, Moody's, and all these big companies. I'm like going, that would never take my call. That would never respond. The only reason I ever talked to any of those big companies is I ended up in the same conferences where we're like this, and they have to at least say hi.
Yeah.
I was so terribly good. I'm going to say terribly good, terrible, and still good.
Yeah.
The way we got a big company's attention in 2013, 14, something like that, was I wore, this is San Jose, middle of summer, 95 degrees. I wore a Marty McFly orange vest, right? You remember the vest,
Yep.
the puffer vest or whatever?
Yep.
I'm like going, and my whole shtick was find the guy in the orange vest and get $100,000, right? You remember when we said, I mean, that's how desperate we were, right? Like, and all I had in my pockets were candy bars. $100,000. They go, hey, you're the guy with $100,000. Yeah, I got it for you right here. And I give a head, a candy bar.
Old melted candy bar. This kind of gross.
So, but I'm sweating, and it comes to the end of the day, and I'm in the free drink line, right? Because they always give you like a free happy hour, like at the end of the day. I'm in the free drink line, and the guy behind me goes, "Hey, what? All right, what's the deal? Why are you wearing that?" I said, "Well, here's what we're trying to do over at Finnegraph," and he turns around and he goes, "Oh, I'm with Moody's. I'm with Moody's. I'd like to hear more about that. Change the dynamics of everything."
Nice.
Me sweating my ass off in California, giving out candy bars, looked like a dumbass, pushing my message out.
Yep.
Turned into something.
Yeah.
Right. That's what you're talking about. It's a pull. It's like going, say somebody saw it and they pulled you into their world.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something you really have to pay attention to. And I think as a startup, especially, the tricky part is recognizing the pull, recognizing, is it pull? Is it the right type? Is it sort of a red herring? Is it false? Like it seems like it'd be really obvious, but it's not, because there's a lot of dynamics go on behind it. But if you find that pull and you nurture it, it starts to remove the friction and starts to move things so much quicker.
Yeah. So, hey, let's remove some friction from our sponsor, our title sponsor. Speaking of removing friction, right?
All right.
So, I don't know what it is about Magic Mind, but I can tell you this, that it is the first product I've talked about on the air where my friends are like asking me, like, hey, does that stuff really work? This happened just, prior to Super Bowl. Breger's asked me, neighbor Breger, like, hey, does it really work? And I gave him one. But I'm like going, it not only works, I've got one for you that I can give to you so you can try it out for yourself. If you haven't used Magic Mind and you need focus, if you have trouble sometimes just getting through the workday, or you have a big project where you're like going, I need to buckle down, I need to understand what's happening, and I need to focus on what's going on in my life, take some Magic Mind in the morning, and you will have not only the most hyper-focused attitude about whatever work product you're on, but you will appreciate the productivity. Neighbor Pat says he got 8 hours of work done in 4 hours. So that's how good this product works. Try it. Clear your mind. Give yourself focus. That's what we're trying to do. So Magic Mind, you can get it where?
You can so now there's also a great deal. So you can get it at magicmind.com. But when you go there, go to magicmind.com/BBBS, business beer BS. So BBBS. And you can get up to 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days with our code capital B, capital B, capital B, capital S, 20. Now, how this works, your code will be valid forever as a 20% off for both a one-time purchase and subscriptions. But in the next 10 days, it's up to 56% off if applied to a subscription. And it stacks with a subscription discount from the website. So that's how you get that 56% off on the 30-pack subscription. So go check out magicmind.com and BBBS20, all capitals. That's the code to use, and give it a go.
Yeah, BBBS20, that's the code.
Yep.
And you get discounts. Think about it. Not only focus, not only all the clarity that you need to get through the workday, you're going to get a discount. So super appreciate that. Now we should put that link out on Facebook again. Put the link out. Put the code. Yeah.
It's always in the show notes. So anytime you guys go to the show notes, like if you see our like on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, anywhere that you see the video, it'll be below that. Not on the live one that's streaming now, but on the ones that we post every Thursday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, we post an episode. You'll see it right there, a link right there, so you can track it down.
Yeah, these people know that. We've done it 129 times.
Yeah, exactly. We have our website up there too, by the way, so you can always find us there too.
Yeah, so let me tell you how this story came about, right? So I'm teaching class, and people are saying, "Well, give us examples or whatever." I'm like going, so I'm gonna go back to Finnegraph, where for 5 years, pushing it out, push. We do this, we do this, we do this. Not getting responses from folks like PayPal. Come on, we're a startup fintech company. PayPal was, well, Elon Musk wasn't even there. That's how successful they were already. He had already left, right? Well, I have, the CEO, a friendship with the CEO now of Finnegraph still. I guess we were friends there and I was partners with him. He went on a show called Treehouse Masters. I ever tell you this story?
Boy, it sounds vaguely familiar, but it's been a long time. Yeah.
All right. So if you haven't seen Treehouse Masters, the host name is Pete Nelson, and he's in Falls City, Washington. James also lives in Falls City, Washington. Guess what? Right next door to Pete Nelson. Right? So Pete and him talked. He got on the show. Now, these are tree houses not like you and I build. The minimum cost to get started is around $250,000.
Oh, wow.
So think about it. This isn't tree house. This is like house. The way I look at it is like no house.
Yeah.
But anyway, he did this and he went on with his family, and we had a watch party in like 2016. I think it aired in like February 2016. If you want to go check the video, it's called a pre-ski. Right. That's a after ski is what this thing is, because he was a big skier. He used to go up to Whistler all the time. And when he's on the show, you ever watch reality like TV shows? And you're like, oh man, those people are weird.
Yeah.
Really? I wouldn't say that. But James went on the show, and he couldn't say that he was the CEO of Finnegraph, but he could say that he was the CEO of a fintech startup. Right. Mm-hmm. So he did that, but they allowed him to wear gear. So he had a jacket. He had a jacket that said Finnegraph. He had a shirt that said Finnegraph. Right. So every episode, he's got a Finnegraph piece of logo on it, which is really kind of unassuming because you're watching the show, you're looking at the treehouse, you're really not looking at this. So I didn't think nothing of it. But James was so bad at acting, I made fun of him. Right. I made fun of him. It was like going, matter of fact, his acting was so bad that when we had bad news in the office, I'm like, yeah, it's still not as bad as this episode of The actor in this one is really bad, right? but in a good-hearted, way.
Yeah.
And and the thing is, that happened in like January, February of like 2016. In June, I get a phone call. Comes right to my desk.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, this is Sid over at PayPal. And Sid at the time was like, chief credit officer, chief risk officer at PayPal. I'm like going, Sid, I've been trying to get a hold of you for 5 years. I said that because I've been trying to get a hold of him for 5 years. Yeah. He says, yeah, I saw this show on TV, Treehouse Masters. I said, oh, stop. He goes, what do you mean? I said, don't tell me you're calling me because you saw Finnegraph on Treehouse Masters. He goes, yeah, that's exactly what happened. I said, dude, you know how much crow I'm going to have to eat in this office? Because here you are, the guy I couldn't get a hold of. James goes on TV, and now you call me. Like, that's the most ridiculous story I think I've ever had, was that somebody that we were trying to get in touch with came to me. What he said was, well, you guys have a fintech product. I'm in fintech. And trust me, at that point in time, I wasn't thinking me and fintech and PayPal and fintech were the same. But I guess we were both fintech.
Yeah.
He said, I started looking at what you guys do, and I called around, and I think you can solve our problem. And that started conversations about a pilot product. And all of a sudden, things just changed, right? You get some market validation, and some other companies start talking to you a little bit more openly, a little bit faster discussions than what we've been slugging along with. Mm-hmm. And I can only think that it was us push, and anywhere we could get our name out there, even James wearing his jacket on TV.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to catch somebody's attention, but you just push, and then you feel the pull. Right? Yeah. You feel like, oh, this might be something, right? It just takes that one thing. So, I mean, that's meant to be a funny story, but it's meant to also be my gosh, this could happen. You just keep doing it. Wear your orange vest, get on TV, whatever you can do to get in front of somebody else.
Yeah, it's funny how often people will say, "Oh, and entrepreneurs will say, I got a lucky break here, I got a lucky break there, I got a little luck here." You make your own luck. There is an element of luck there, but boy, when you look at it, it's like, yeah, but I put myself in 10,000 situations, and one of them turned out to be lucky. Well, no, like you're just everywhere all the time, talking with people, putting things out there, trying to find these types of things. And we've had some really, just even last a few months, we have some really formative conversations with people that came and found us, and talking with them, we just got a better understanding of, oh my God, this is the problem that they have. And it just helps prioritize things. It's like, well, we kind of knew that was a problem. What we didn't know is it was the problem, or it's a really big part of the problem. And so it's all those conversations just feed you, right?
Hey, it's not luck when the things you're doing work. Mm-hmm. It's not luck. You're doing the work. Yeah. You did that for that reason. It just happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And it, like you said, you got to put every ball in play that you can, and just, and then, and what happens is you start, and it's like, you're shooting the ball everywhere, all over the place. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you know what? If I keep going to left field, it's like, that's kind of working. And then it's like, yeah, I just kind of pop it over the shortstop. And that's where it's like, you start to refine, you see, like, this is what's working. This is what's, and that's when you can start to get into, double down on that. And when we say double down, it doesn't mean ignore everything else. It's like, no, test this out. This is showing value, test it out. And you just keep refining and focusing. And that really helps.
I call those sales seams. Right. So you think about the market as this big wall in front of you, and you just throw your balls against the wall. And then all of a sudden you say, there's a crack over there. Keep throwing at that crack. Right. Yep. And then all of a sudden it gives you a hole, and the hole gets bigger, and you exploit it and go get all the sales in that hole. That's the seam you found because you beat against the wall to the point where you found the spot where you fit.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're much better equipped, I think, to see like which ones are like, oh, that's legit. These guys are, like I said, kicking down our door. Because when you first start, it's like, oh, they didn't tell us to get lost. That's a win, And it's like, oh, they think they might want it. That's a win. It's when they start coming in and going, yeah, like, I need this. Like, I need it today. I need it now. I need that. That's where you've got to double down. You got to really exploit that channel, that seam, like you said, right?
Hey, who had a good pull strategy right off the bat? I think of two of them. that they just exploded onto the scene, but it's because the demand was already there. So that's just it. Sometimes the demand's already there. Nobody's doing it good.
Yeah.
Right. That's the pull strategy where the market already has a pull. You just get into the gravitational pull. Slack did it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They built an internal communication channel that everybody kind of needed.
Yeah.
You know, a way that was better than email to communicate. The other one was Zoom. If you really think about it, Zoom did the same thing. I don't know. It was fortuitous because there was Zoom before COVID, but COVID really went, oh, we need you. Zoom is the thing. And now they've got such a lead that it's hard to use the other ones. It's hard because there was already a go-to meeting. There was already, remember those and a few others. They just weren't doing it so easy and well.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like those companies, they see that opportunity, and the ones that they really like, they double down, they triple down. What's interesting though is all of these products and all the Apple ones, honestly, like the iPhone, the iPod, all these things, there was stuff already there. There was stuff that was early. It was out. The market wanted something better. And so they just were like, it hadn't reached that tipping point yet. It wasn't quite good enough. The situation wasn't there. The product wasn't good enough. Like the MP3 players, well, it was like 5 songs or whatever. And then Apple comes out and says, you can hold 1,000. Oh, okay. Now you got my attention, right?
In your pocket.
In your pocket. Exactly. And so it's this measure of, it's not an incremental step. It's an order of magnitude step. And you get that order of magnitude step, and suddenly you really have people's attention. And that's, I think that's really important to see with a lot of these ones that like Slack is a great example. During my agency days, we used in messaging, like kind of a early kind of version of Slack. We were doing this instant messaging in office. We weren't, we had email, but no, in office, we were doing this, the office is right over there, but it doesn't matter. We were doing this, but it was kind of clunky. And Slack just came in and went, this just works, and it works so much better. And it was that order of magnitude better that it's just everyone just rushed to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, but it had a pull marketing strategy. Like, you're already doing it. There's already there. Try ours. It's better.
Yeah.
Right? It was a pulling towards you from a market that already existed.
Yeah.
Where Tesla's like going, there's no real electric car market. We're going to create it.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I want to hear how Cashflow Mike is just, you're getting a pull from the market, and I want to know why.
Me?
Yeah.
I think there's a real hunger of people that want to be able to do this, and everything they see is too difficult. It's too hard. There's too much. Right? There's no simple 1, 2, 3. And I think what I've been able to do is say, hey, listen, let's break down the conversation into like 3 phases. Like, we got to sync with our customer. We got to dig deep to find what the problem is. And then we got to elevate them through the problem. That's it. My whole program is designed to have conversations like we would have sitting across the bar.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not bar type conversation, but it's casual enough that I'm talking to a friend. I'm not talking to a subordinate. I'm not talking to somebody that doesn't understand what they're trying to do in their business. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help.
Yeah. And so who are you talking to? Who should come and talk with you?
Yeah, I think accountants and bookkeepers right now, financial advisors, fractional CFOs, those type of folks. If you're looking for a technique that actually helps you easily dissect somebody's financial statements, so you can find hidden cash, so you can actually increase their cash conversion, bring more cash into the business, or just understand the financial statements better, come check it out. Come to cashflowmike.com. Look at the 2 courses. I got 2 courses. One is Clear Path to Cash. That's about teaching you the technical skills, how to look at your financial statements easier and not use words like leverage and solvency and liquidity.
Mhm.
Let's face it. The average business owner is like me. We don't use those words in everyday life. So I don't want you to use them with me because I feel like you're making me feel dumb.
Yeah.
Don't make your clients feel dumb. Talk to them in a language that they can use in their business every day. That's why I think I'm at the best in the world at. I'm going to say best in the world.
Yeah. And I'll agree with you. You are. And, I've been talking with some business owners, like one just a couple of days ago, and it was interesting. He's been in business for, I think it's somewhere around 20 years now. And he's observing what I'm hearing from a lot of other business owners. And honestly, what we're seeing too is that every single tiny nickel value, everything is highly scrutinized more than I've ever seen it. Now, it doesn't mean that people aren't buying. It doesn't mean that businesses aren't buying, but they're looking at every nickel. The CFO is involved in virtually every decision, or the business owner, depending on what size the business is, and they're just scrutinizing it like never before. And that means that you have to be able to communicate your value, and they have to be able to recognize that value that you're offering them. And that's Mike, is exactly what you do for bookkeepers, for CPAs, for fractional CFOs. Help them go and talk with customers, and the customers should instantly recognize the value that you're bringing them.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm telling you this. I've talked with 2 clients in the past month where they've had other consultants, not me. They've had other coaches, not me. And they've all given them kind of similar advice. And it points to what you're saying is we're dissecting down to the nickel. I'm telling you this, maybe that's not your problem. So the first thing I do is figure out where the problem exists, right? Mm-hmm. Because what I have is this technique called mining your business for hidden cash. So if you look at it like a metal detector, and we're along the beach and the beach is your business, where it beeps, that's where we dig. Nobody's telling you where it beeps first. So I'm going, no, we need cost analysis. We need this. Maybe not. I had 2 clients again this week. They don't have a cost problem. They're not spending too much money. Their problem is in pricing. Their problem is also in how much inventory is sitting on the shelf. Yeah. Those are not cost problems. I'm not telling you to cut expenses. I'm telling you to dig where you need to dig. And that's the biggest problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So where can they find you?
Where can they find me? Hey, my name is Cashflow Mike. I reside at cashflowmike.com. You can find me there. Here's the biggest gift I can give you today. If you don't know how to understand your financial statements, if you don't know how to see, kind of how you stack up, or don't know what you're looking at, just go to cashflowmike.com. Right underneath the header statement where it says, are you ready to master your cash flow? Yeah. Get my book, free book, 7-minute conversation. What that will tell you to do or teach you to do is in 6 easy calculations, read all 3 financial statements. The income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement in 6 calculations. It's an educational tool about your business. You'll learn more about your business in 10 minutes than you knew probably the whole time you've run your business. So go check it out. Go get the free book.
Nice. Sweet. All right. How'd you like that segue? I'm not as talented as you in the segues, but I did my best today. So,
but I felt like I was you, like, because sometimes I toss to you, like I give you a softball and you go, oh, he's tossing to me. I did the same thing. I fumbled the first toss. I'm like,
now you know how it feels. The little segue when you're caught unawares, you're not expecting it. Anyway, yeah, right. That was good. That was good, man.
That's one of the cool things about this show is that, it's just live. We just kind of do it. We wing it. Nothing. There is 0 things planned about every single show. Yeah. What you're going to hear when we start is the topic that we came up with 5 or 10 minutes before the show. How many times have you ever went to Google where we keep the show notes and there's nothing there before the show?
Oh yeah, like I literally watch it. I watch it start typing because I'm setting up all the stuff to where it's going to stream, and I need to copy paste the show notes in, and I'm watching the little thing go along as it's getting typed, and I'm like, usually what happens is like now I see a title, well, I wander over to the fridge and I look at all my beer and see if I can find a beer that matches while you're typing the rest of it out. So it's but that's what means that this is why we do it this way, because like you were saying before the show. this came up in your class this week with your students, and that's really cool. Like, so it's always really topical, and that's something that's top of mind for you or for me or for, and likely for the people that are listening to the show. So I think it's a great way. Otherwise, I think it's a stale thing that we just kind of force our way into a topic. So
I also think it's an exercise for us, whereas in business, we have to react to whatever's happening. By putting the topic out 10 minutes before we start, that's like running a business. You're already in it. You got to figure out how to make it work now.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So you get used to it. You get used to it after a while.
I mean, 129 times. I think we're getting better at it. Right?
We're pretty comfortable with it now. Yeah.
All right. So why these big studios need teams of people around the host? I don't know. We just kind of pull it off like that.
Exactly.
We don't need teams of writers. We don't need stunt coordinators.
I don't need a stylist.
Yeah, don't need a stylist. We just make shit happen.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, if you like the way we make shit happen, go to mikeandblaine.com. Check out what we got, because all 129 episodes can be found there. They can be found on Apple, on Spotify, anywhere you like to get a podcast. You can get our episodes. All you got to do is like and subscribe.
Make sure you don't miss any of our shows. And also you can go there, buy a beer. We've even got a little bit of merch there. So, but we always love hearing from you. So you can go to our Facebook page. You can hit us up there if you want to connect with us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, right on. Hey, 129 in the books. I'm Mike Mylan. That is Blaine Birch. We are Mike and Blaine. Thanks for joining us.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.